Hello, welcome. We're just going to give everyone a few minutes to arrive and then we'll get started. Hello again, everyone. We're just going to give everyone some more people a few minutes to join us and then we'll get started.
In the meantime, feel free to send us a message in the chat to let us know where you're coming from. We're always curious to know that.
Okay, so I think we'll get started. So welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from in the world today. My name's Gary. I'm one of the recruitment and admissions officers at Forward, and I'm joined by Clément and Elizabeth today. Clément, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So my name is Clément. I'm part of the recruitment and admissions team at Forwards College. I'm based in France, and that's it. Thank you.
And Elizabeth.
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth. I'm originally from the Czech Republic and I just finished my first year in Lisbon.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I think you've turned your camera around though. There you are. Clément and I are from the recruitment and admissions team, both based in France. I am based in the building that you see behind us there. That's our teaching space for year two, and where Elizabeth will be joining us next year as well. Today is really an opportunity to tell you a little bit more about Forward, what makes us unique, what makes us different. You're welcome to ask questions throughout the presentation. We'll try to kind of break it up and answer your questions as we go through or answer them at the end. That's absolutely fine. So first of all, I just want to start with a video to kind of give you a visual idea of the Forward journey.
Forward College offers a unique international experience where students live and learn across three campuses: Lisbon the first year, Paris the second, and Berlin third. Three European capitals with distinct cultural aspects for you to discover. Our teaching methods are different from those found in traditional degree courses. They are engaging, interactive, and personalized. Whether in economics, data science, politics and international relations, business and management, or psychology, our bachelor's degrees are designed by the London School of Economics or King's College London and accredited by the University of London. Our programs are taught in small classes, averaging just 15 students. Additionally, students are supported through one-on-one tutoring, helping them to excel in their exams. Our students' commitment goes beyond their academic bachelor's. As part of our leadership program, students will deliver impact projects via teamwork and collaboration. Working on a social and environmental impact project in year one, designing a digital solution in year two, and consulting for international organizations in year three. Over the course of the 3 years, students will enhance their social and emotional intelligence, as well as their leadership skills through our personal development program. It includes training in inclusive communication, networking, stress management, and negotiation. These skills are key in supporting students as well as their academic success, professional career, personal life, and well-being in the years to come. So, if you're ready to embark on the next step of your journey, we can't wait to hear from you.
So as I mentioned, that's kind of a visual representation of the Forward journey. So what makes Forward College unique? Oh, no,
Forward College offers
I'll get past this now. So what makes Forward College unique? There are kind of four main pillars to the Forward model. The bachelor's that we offer, the style of teaching that we have at Forward, the additional leadership program to the academic program, and then also the international element, which obviously you've seen in the video as well. So if we look at the bachelor's first of all, we offer a range of bachelor's at Forward. The first being the University of London programs with academic direction from LSE or King's College London. They're separated into 7 main programs, with the bulk coming from LSE, focused on economics, data science, business, politics and international relations, and psychology from King's College London. So as a teaching centre of the University of London, Forward teaches these programs at our teaching spaces in Lisbon, Paris, and Berlin. That means that the academic fellows are from Forward, but the students sit LSE exams. They sit the KCL exams, and they're marked by those respective institutions as well. The degree that they get at the end of the program is a University of London degree. Forward also has its own bachelor's program. It is a French degree that is accredited by the Ministry of Education in France, and it focuses on similar subject areas. So data science and AI, economics, management, politics and international relations, psychology, but also with leadership, management and innovation as well. So the way that these two programs are different is that with the University of London programs, the students will study a more kind of traditional academic program. But with the open bachelor's, students can choose a major and a minor, or a double major in some cases. The way in which they're assessed is slightly different as well. There's less kind of examinations, more in-house assessments, and practice and training as well. Oh. And then this year, we're also introducing our PPE and PPLE, the Philosophy, Politics and Economics, and Psychology, Politics, Law and Economics program. They follow a similar trajectory to the Open Bachelor's program. They are essentially an Open Bachelor's Plus. What does Bachelor's Plus mean? I'll go into that a little more detail as we go on in the presentation. But again, they're assessed in a very similar way with the Forward teaching model. So what is it about our teaching that is different? Small class sizes, first of all, 15 students per class. This really gives students the opportunity to not just come to class, sit down, listen to someone speak at them for 2 hours, go away, do an exam and do an essay. They're coming to class and really exchanging ideas. They're challenging certain ideas. They're applying what they know and what they have previously studied to real world case examples. So we employ a flipped classroom approach. So that means that students do a lot of research and preparation in advance of a class. In some cases, they do that alone or in groups. And then so by the time they come to class, they're applying that knowledge. With the University of London programs and also the Open Bachelors, students are constantly being assessed and receiving formative assessments in addition to the University of London curriculum. So these formative assessments inform our academic fellows and inform the one-to-ones that they have with the students on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. The students really benefit from these one-to-ones. It's an opportunity for the academics to help guide our students, to give them information one-on-one, to allow them to focus on certain areas and forget about other areas that they might be worried about or concerned about. The way in which we teach also allows students to put focus on teamwork. They're not coming to class and listening solo and doing that essay solo. They're working together. They're working much more collaboratively. And it also gives them the opportunity to do project-based learning. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about this in a few minutes' time as well. But the way in which we teach is being reflected in the results. Students are doing very well in their exams. In some cases, they're coming out with commendations and awards from LSE for their performance in the exams. This could be a certificate. This could be, in some cases, a check for a few £100 saying, well done, keep up the good work. And the pass rate of our students is also very high. We've also this year received an award for Best Student Teacher Interaction, which again proves the strength of the relationships that students have with their academic tutors. They appreciate the one-to-one time that they had with them. They appreciate the accessibility that they have with them as well. So the leadership program, as I mentioned, I talked about kind of the assessments and the way in which we develop our students forward. So in addition to the academic program, students have access to a leadership program. So this really, this helps their entrepreneurial side blossom a lot. And this is 3 year-long projects helping them focus within certain areas of social impact and sustainability in year 1, digital entrepreneurship in year 2, and then consulting in year 3. So what does that look like in real terms? So for example, in Portugal, last year or the year before, I think it was, students had a project called Water Smart Golf, where they found out that 10% of the clean drinking water in Lisbon goes to the golf clubs for their pools and their ponds. Obviously, clean water in the Mediterranean or the kind of Mediterranean area is a commodity. So they worked with the local communities, local businesses, and local politicians to have that water rerouted back into the taps. So they built a campaign, they marketed that campaign, and students took on different roles within that. Digital entrepreneurship in year 2. So students are building or creating a digital solution to an issue or to a problem. In some cases, that can be a mobile app. It can be a web app. An example of what our students did last year, one of our students, a French student, his parents work in the wine industry in the southwest of France. And he noticed that small producers of wine were being affected by climate change. So they created a kind of wine club and a website to connect small producers with wine enthusiasts, whilst also at the same time educating them about the way in which climate change is having an impact on agriculture in Southwestern Europe. So again, students are taking on different roles, building and marketing and working with different elements to help build these projects. And then in year 3 in Berlin, students are consulting with real companies. They can be large established companies, anywhere from L'Oreal to smaller startups in Berlin as well. And then we also have a research project for those students who want to go into more research-focused master's programs after their studies. The second element of what we offer at Forward, in addition to the academic studies, is the leadership program. It focuses on social intelligence, emotional intelligence, and professional intelligence, kind of making those next steps. So this is divided into 3 different years, and students will work on effective communication, for example, how to work in teams, resilience, giving and receiving constructive criticism, all skill sets and things that they need straight out of university. These are the things that graduate employers are looking for in graduates these days. Students need more than just their degree these days. So this really gives them the opportunity to work on those skill sets. And students in these classes, it's not just all psychology students with psychology students. It's again a mix of those students together in these classes, working in collaboration and helping each other, build themselves into a more well-rounded student or postgraduate student in these cases. So what does this look like? It can be a little bit confusing at first, but the programs that we offer are the bachelor's, bachelor's plus, and double bachelor's. So with the double bachelor's, you have the academic program from University of London, the LSE or KCL programs, with the personal development program and the projects entrepreneurship program as well. But students will also have an internship and language classes as well. This allows them to have a second degree. So students who do the double bachelor's program will have the UK University of London degree and the Ford College French degree, all in English. For many students, that feels quite overwhelming and it feels like a lot. So they might choose to do the Bachelor's Plus. Think of this as a light version where you're not taking on the full suite of personal development and project-based learning, but you're doing a light part version of that. So it still gives the students elements and access to that. The Open Bachelor's program offers a similar structure where students can do the bachelor's plus or double bachelor's, but this is reflected in a double major. So the project-based learning and the personal development are essentially baked into this program. They're not kind of a separate element, so to speak. And then foreign languages are also included in that. Do we have any questions so far? Because I know that was a lot of information.
I don't think we have so far, Gary.
Okay, I'll keep going.
But if you have, actually, it's a good opportunity to remind you that if you have any questions, please send them to us in the chat. You can send them to everybody, and we can check them anytime.
And the last element, of course, is the international aspect to Forward. Forward is a truly international institution. Every single student at Forward is an international student at one point or another in the 3 years. So, as I mentioned, Lisbon, Paris, and Berlin. So why Lisbon, Paris, and Berlin? So this is a kind of intentional journey for the students. Students come to Lisbon as it's a smaller capital city. It allows students to kind of navigate the city very well. It's also a very sunny city as well. 300 days of sun, I believe it is. So students can get out there. They can explore the city. They can build their connections in the first year in a city that might not be so overwhelming for the first time that they're away from their friends and their family. Unfortunately, Paris and Berlin tend to be a little bit colder in September and October, a little bit grayer, and the nights are closing in as well. So being in Lisbon in that first year really allows the students to get out and build connections and find themselves in that first year. By the time they come to Paris, they are in a much more kind of traditional campus environment. So students are studying in this building behind me, and in some cases they're also living in this building. And this is actually a campus that is filled with many international students from around the world in Paris, from different institutions, around about 8,000 students on campus here. But you're only 10 minutes from Notre Dame, so 10 minutes from the city center of Paris. In Berlin, students are actually studying in a co-working space. So they are surrounded by professionals. In this co-working space, students have the opportunity to network. They have the opportunity to work and have lessons in meeting rooms and boardrooms. Thinking about those next steps, they're in a much more professional mindset because at the end of that year, those next steps are the big steps into either the graduate space or further studies in their master's program. And we have 40 plus nationalities. I always like to add the plus because we're adding more and more nationalities all the time. Forward is a young institution, but we have managed to add many new nationalities to the cohort, and it really adds to that diversity and the richness of the student body. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass across to Elizabeth to talk a little bit about the learning journey so far for her and where students go and what they do.
So hi again, everyone. So let's start with Lisbon in the first year. So as Gary mentioned, Lisbon is kind of more homey, much smaller city than Paris and Berlin. And in Lisbon, we actually have 2 learning centers. So 2 places that classes happen. And those 2 learning centers are in the center of the city, in the historical center, one of which being this learning center here, which is called Soriano. This is the kind of bigger one. It has this beautiful terrace that is very nice, especially when it's sunny outside. And both learning centers have these meditation rooms that you can kind of chill in, study, take a nap, however you want to use it. It's really everyone uses it differently. We in the learning centers, there's also these big tables that people study at or even have classes at, or when they're learning. For example, Gary mentioned that a lot of your learning sometimes happens in groups. So these are great places to kind of meet up with everyone in your group and study. So this is a picture from the other learning center, the second meditation room and terrace again. And yeah, so there's a lot of space, there's a lot of classrooms, there's also spaces for meetings and so on. Additionally to the learning centers, we have this thing we call the co-working space, which is kind of for the students. It's actually right under the student residence, or like right next door to the student residence. So it's very accessible for, especially for the students living in the student residence, which is the majority of the cohort. The co-working space is used for different things, like we can have our birthday celebrations there most of the year. There's a large screen, so people have watched football and different kind of sports games there. People have done, I believe there was different events, like they had like an UN opening ceremony there this year. They also watched some political speeches there. So it's really up to you how you use it and when you use it, because again, you can use it to study and so on. Moving on to student residences. For the student residences, it's in the same building and everyone has a private bathroom and private bedroom. And then depending on your budget and your preferences, you can choose to either have a kitchen in your dorm room or have a shared kitchen. So this is one angle of the student residence. And yeah. Additionally, there's student life. So as was mentioned, Lisbon is the sunniest out of the three cities, and it's very friendly. What was not mentioned is that, especially over the last few years, it's become a very touristy but also student town. Like a lot of Erasmus programs happen there. So there's really like an international environment even outside of Forward. And you have the beach that's not too far away. So people have surfed before. And I believe that a few years before us, there was surf clubs and so on. There's also different kind of clubs. And that's when I can mention that Forward College, you can has different clubs, and depending on your cohort and your interest, people can start student clubs. So we have an arts and crafts club, we had a yoga club, and whatever people are interested in, that's kind of, they can start it and people join. So here we have different photos from the year that happened. So Harrison year 2, as was mentioned, the learning center is the Cité Internationale. And this is one of the either, I'm not 100% sure, do not quote me on this, but either a classroom or again, like a space where
It is a classroom.
students. Okay, great. So a classroom, and again, you can study there, you can have classes there, and it's in the same campus area. So this is one of those communal places that students can study in. And this is the library in the Cité. So this is used by the students also outside of Forward College, but it is a beautiful area that you can study in. The Cité also has, I believe, up to 80 sports or 80 plus sports. So you can join different clubs outside of Forward College, not only at Forward College, and they have sports, they have more of a cultural club. So I believe there was like an orchestra or something. And so I think everyone would find their interests the Cité, may it be at Forward, within the Forward kind of bubble or outside of it. As for the student residences, there are different student residences, again, depending on your personal preferences and on your budget. So either you have your own bathroom, a shared bathroom, either you have your own kitchen, a shared kitchen, it really depends. As well as there's, again, a whole lot of activities that you can do depending on your interests, depending on your aspirations. So if you want to go into more politics, you might go around and visit different political places. If you're more into sports, you can hang around campus or do a lot of sports, but it's up to you.
I will also interject as well, just to say that there are induction weeks and periods at the beginning of every year as well. So the students are really introduced to the cities. I can talk a little bit more about Paris because being based here, but the students will go to different museums. They will go and have different walks around the city. There's really not enough time within a whole year to visit all of the museums in Paris. They will, for example, play pétanque and just be introduced to kind of very French and Parisian things in general. You have all this to look forward to, Elizabeth, in September.
Yeah, you can't wait. And then third year in Berlin, as was mentioned previously, it's in a co-working space, so it kind of helps you interact and evolve into the working environment post Forward College. And again, there's a lot of classrooms and shared spaces. There's also events that happens in all 3 years, but this is a particular event space, I believe. And student accommodations. I might also interject that there's guaranteed student accommodation in all 3 cities. And Forward does recommend that you choose these accommodations, especially in Chior, which is the student accommodation in Lisbon. It's very nice. And Paris, of course. And again, student life, Berlin being a bubbling city, a lot of different things you can try out and do depending on what you're interested in.
Are you looking forward to moving to Paris, Elizabeth?
So I'm very happy to move to Paris. I'm very much looking forward to it.
You're not going to miss Lisbon?
I think I'll miss the weather, though. But I am excited to move to Paris and to practice my French.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to pass you across to Clément now, who's going to talk a little bit about what students can do after Forward, and then also discuss the application process as well.
Thank you, Gary. So here on this slide, you can see what our students have been doing after graduating. So more or less half of them will decide to go for master degrees, and they've been admitted to very good institutions across Europe. I think that also some of them applied to the US, if I'm not wrong. But we have some of them now studying at Sciences Po Paris, at top business schools in Spain. Some others went to the Netherlands. So we can see already great results for our students leaving Forward College. And the rest of them, they decided to take a gap year to work, have another work experience, professional experience, or to do internships. For example, we currently have one student that is doing a 1-year internship at the peacekeeping section at the UN in New York. Some of them are doing internships at embassies, others in companies like Henkel. So you see that you have quite a lot of opportunities. Some of them, they decide to stay in Berlin because this is where, well, as Gary explained in the last year, we try to focus on what's coming next, the adventure after Forward College, if I can say it that way. So some of them, they have a network in Berlin, so they decide to use it to do their internship or first professional experience in Berlin before going and moving to their master degrees.
Thank you. I also want to take a moment to kind of talk a little bit about how Forward is embracing and working with AI as well. So Forward sees AI as a really important aspect in education. In fact, our founder has also written a book on how AI is working in education and how it should be embraced and how it should be used in the future. It's been translated into a few different languages so far, so I'm sure whether you speak English, French, Spanish, Italian, there's certainly going to be options for you to access that as well. But at Forward, we're working with our students to understand AI a little bit better. We're encouraging our students to use AI to to revise, to plan their time, but also not just use it as a substitute teacher. They are using it as a tool to engage. They're learning how to create with AI as well. They're looking how to build AI bots to really improve their experience of AI as well, but then also to judge and know when and when not to use it. So how do we do that forward? So we've actually a hub that gives students access to all of the kind of the main AI models that are available at the moment. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and others. And within that, they receive real-time kind of feedback and updates on how they're using it, if they're using the AI effectively as well. So they receive essentially kind of if you think about, if you have on your iPhone, for example, a kind of you have your health and feedback. This is similar with AI. It's giving prompts on whether students are using asking the right questions, giving the right prompts, giving advice on whether or not their cognitive offloading is being done too much with the AI program, and how to build a better relationship in using that as well. And also in the second year of the entrepreneurship project, in the digital entrepreneurship project, they're also being encouraged to use AI and include that in their models as well. Back to Clément. Clément, you're on mute.
Sorry, I clicked on unmute, but it didn't work. Thank you, Gary. So yeah, I would like to go through this important topic that usually is much of interest to you when you're applying to university, our entry requirements. So as you can see, we do have a minimum requirements. You can see it for the here, sorry, for the A levels and the IB, but of course we do accept many others curriculum, including some national curriculum. For example, if you are doing the French baccalaureate or the Italian esame di Stato, the German Abitur, or any other national curriculum, you may still be eligible, and we probably accept it. And you can find this information on our website, and you will find the minimum requirement we ask for all of these curriculums. But basically, when you apply, we evaluate your application based on two sections, if I can say that way. One is about your academic results. So you will have to share with us your transcripts. If you have any predicted grades already, you can also share them with us. And the second part is more about your motivation and your extracurricular activities. So it's important for us to see what you've been doing outside of the classroom, what are the activities you're involved in, what are the learnings from these activities, and your motivation to join a specific degree at Forwards College. And well, depending on each case, you would need to send us an English proficiency, an English test. If you are from an English-speaking country, or if you are fully studying in English, you may not need to send this English test. And also, you can submit your application without the test. We can always request it later, but don't feel blocked to submit the application if you have not done the English test yet. Please submit it, and you can send it later on. Once your application has been successful, you will be invited to an interview. Yeah, you can change that. So, if your application is deemed eligible, you will be invited to the next stage of the admissions process, which is the interview. And once you've been invited to the interview, we strongly recommend that you have a student conversation. So that means having a chat with one of our current students at Forwards College. For example, if you're interested in the Open Bachelor, you could be connected with Elizabeth, that is here. But depending on each program, you could be in touch with other students. It's quite important because they can really share their honest experience about Forwards College, but also they can give you some tips about how to prepare for the interview. Then you will have the interview with an admissions officer. It's an online interview. It lasts approximately 30 minutes, and it's done in English, of course. Then the admission committee will make a final decision. And once you receive your admission offer, the last step for you is to enroll. Here's some additional information about our tuition fees and the financial aid that is available at Fort Worth College. So you can see the starting price for our tuition fees. They depend on the program and the degree you choose, but also they also depend on your nationality, basically. But you can find more details on our website. There is a specific page dedicated to the tuition fees, so you can see all the details there, and also some additional information about the living cost. You can see the approximate cost, for example, for groceries or transport in each city. So it gives you an idea of how much you would need to live in each of the three cities. Regarding the financial support, so we do have some financial support available. First, we have what we call Global Excellence Scholarships. So these scholarships are made for top students who graduate with a minimum of 90%, who achieve a 90% score. And these scholarships, they can cover up to 100% of the tuition fees. Something important to tell you is that for this year, for September 2026, all the Global Excellence Scholarships have been allocated already. So if you are interested, if you're joining this webinar for next year, so to start at Fort Worth College in September 2027, you could still be eligible, but if you want to start in 2026, unfortunately, it's too late for this kind of scholarships. However, we also have different kind of supports, including scholarship, not as strong as the Global Excellence ones, but still you could be eligible for scholarships and eventually loans. These scholarships, they are all based on your needs, on your family needs. So we are going to ask you some documents and information about your family situation to assess your application. And it's also, well, actually, it's a combination of your needs and also your academic results. So the best results you have, the more chances you have to get financial aid from us. Thank you very much. So I don't know, Gary, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a question about the double bachelor's program. Are there two separate degrees? So depending on the programs that you're doing, if you're studying the University of London double bachelor's program, you will have a University of London degree and a Forward College degree. So they are separate degrees that you receive. So two separate degrees there. If you're doing the open bachelor's, it is one degree as a double major. However, it's also important to note that the ECTS, the credits, the European credits that you study are extra as well, more than what you would do on a single degree program. So whilst it's a single bachelor's that you're receiving with a double major, the credits that you receive are more because you have simply studied more as well. I hope that answers that question. And how are the exams arranged for the with the LSE? So the LSE and King's have their own degree schedule, and students sit those exams online. And they've actually updated the exam process so that students don't need to do it at Forward in the classrooms or in the kind of the teaching spaces. They can do that from their own home now as well with certain technologies that allows them to do that from home. So the students will sit those and then they are marked by LSE and King's and they receive the results a little later. Another question that we have in the interview phase.
I can take this one if you
Okay,
want.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a question about the Global Excellence Scholarships for a very specific case. But in this case, I will recommend the student to go ahead, go ahead with the process. You can send us an email. We can discuss it and take it as a case by case. Our financial aid committee will get in touch with you. But my recommendation so far would be to go ahead with the process, and you should attend the interview.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions about kind of the student experience for Elizabeth?
Yeah, so there is a question about the social life in Lisbon. So someone is asking if there are any clubs in Lisbon that student can join, or any activities that you do outside of the classroom. So I don't know, Elizabeth, if you want to tell more about it.
So again, it really depends on what you enjoy, because you have a lot of clubs in, like, if you mean student clubs, there's a lot of student clubs in Forward itself. So this year we had an art and crafts club, we had a very popular running club, we had a yoga club. So it really depends on what you kind of care for. But I also know a lot of people who joined activities outside of Forward. So I have a friend who danced. I know a person who took maybe music lessons. So it really depends. As well as student life, as in, if you meant like bars and going out, again, it's a very popular student destination. So there's always something happening at night. So it's very safe, very safe city, and people go out a lot and have a lot of fun outside in the streets, especially now in June. There's so many things now in June.
Thank you very
Um,
much. And
yeah.
yeah, well, regarding the campus in Paris, maybe if we can add that. I know we mentioned that in the chat, but it's a bit different. Sorry, Elizabeth, if you mentioned that, but I was close, so I didn't hear everything. But in Paris, you have a lot of sport facilities on the campus, and access to many activities. The Cité Universitaire is organizing a lot of events too, so you have a lot of things to do. I was thinking actually that I think it was 2 years ago, during the Paris Fashion Week, the Cité Universitaire, so the building you see behind us, was used for a fashion show, for example, and we do have French politicians coming to do some conferences. So there is a lot of things happening on the campus in Paris.
Yeah, the fashion shows are happening very regularly actually. Victoria Beckham closed down the building a couple of months ago and had her show there. And there is a huge kind of big lawn behind the building at the moment. And at the moment they're building a large structure to show off a show in July, and I believe it's Victoria's Secrets that they're doing that for as well. So the building is beautiful. It's a big attraction for many people who come to Paris. And as I mentioned as well, it's very close to the city centre. Directly across from this building is the metro, the RER, and that connects to Roissy Airport. But also, like I say, you can get into the city centre to Notre Dame, for example, in 10 to 12 minutes. So it's very well connected to the city centre. We've got a question about the rate of acceptance and if we still have places available for September. We do still have places available for September. However, we have just finished our fourth and final kind of wave of applications. So applications are still open. And places are going quickly. So if you do want to apply for September 2026, I do recommend getting an application in probably towards the end of this week. And if you are a non-EU student as well, I definitely recommend doing that as soon as possible, because if you are accepted, you obviously need to consider visa applications as well, which can take a couple of months depending on the country that you're applying from. So it's always good to think about that processing time. Financial aid answers usually come well within a week or so of having submitted all documentation. It is obviously case by case. It really depends on the documentation that you provided, the information you provided. But the financial aid team and Bruno will get back to you and keep you updated as soon as possible. I think that is everything. Do we have any other questions? Have I missed anything?
I don't think so, Gary.
No. Well, thanks again, everyone. I think I can show our, do I have our email addresses here? No. Oops. No. I can't see. Yes, we do. If you have any kind of further questions, you're more than welcome to kind of ask those at admissions or send an email to Clément, myself, or other members of the team. Have a good rest of your evening, a good rest of your morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are coming from. And hopefully, we'll see you on campus this year or next.
Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.